Right, we are here in very sunny Santiago. I am here with Augusto Sarmiento, who is one of the stars who has taken Chile to its first ever World Cup, which is a very important subject, I must say, Augusto. But something of more importance is that you had the honour of being in Argentina for the World Cup final when I was in Colombia watching on, having made the worst decision of my entire life. Come on, get it over with. How was it? How was that party?
Yeah, that was quite a great time. My wife is from Argentina, so I was spending the holidays there, and I have the honors to be there for the World Cup finals. And for us, for the Chilean guys, it's quite strange cheering the Argentinian guys, but it feels good. Of course, how I say later in our conversation, like we feel good for Messi, who won the World Cup. But also strange because we have our kind of rivalry against Argentina, but it was crazy. Everyone was on the streets. The party was around like for a week. Everything was an excuse to make an asado, a barbecue with the friends and drink some beers.
Yeah, heavy on the drink in that asado, I dare say.
Yeah, I have to say, drink some beers and some Fernet. Some Fernet for.
That is a dangerous potion. That Fernet. So you went to Argentina to support Argentina. Yes. That means, I guess, that your wife will have to support Chile when Chile play Argentina in this year's World Cup, right?
Yeah, it was a tough conversation we have when we qualify. Like, now you have to cheer Chile in the World Cup, and we went to like in the middle point when she says like, okay, I will paint my face. They have like Argentinian flag and then they have Chilean flag.
But I'm sure deep down she'll be hoping for your success, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's been a hell of a story to get to this point, to the fact that you're looking forward to the World Cup. You've obviously got an injury that you're dealing with, which we'll get into. But can I just bring you back to that moment when you beat the United States to qualify for the World Cup? How did you feel?
Wow, it was a really incredible moment. I have to say, for us, when I remember the moment when R9 kicked the ball out, the whistle, the ref whistled the last minute of the game, and we was just looking around like we really beat USA, we really won, and the question was, we really qualified to World Cup, and of course was just joy. Cheers, and was like trying to wake up from a dream who started like 4 years ago, when we commit with this project, with this dream, and we reached them. And even I can say after a month later of that game, I start to figure it out like, wow, we really qualified for a World Cup, the first time ever. And it's, for me, it's an honor be in that process, and now I'm trying to reach being in the team, in the squad for the World Cup, but it was an unbelievable moment. Yeah,
it took a full month for it to sink in.
Yeah, I have to say it. Yeah. Even I remember my wife also, and my family always tell me like, hey, what's gonna happen when you go to World Cup? And I was like, wow, I'm going to World Cup. Like, I can even imagine if I go back, like, 20 years ago when I started playing rugby at 10, it was not even in my head that moment or that dream, So it was hard to process in a good way, of course. And everyone on the team was the same, I think. We was celebrating, and everyone trying to contain our tears.
Yeah.
No one can really cry because the emotion of the moment. And I remember I called my family, and when they answered the call, I see their faces crying, and that was the moment I start crying like a baby, and I realized what really we commit.
How much of a focus was the qualification of the World Cup in all those years leading up to 2022? Was it the be-all and the end-all, or were you focusing on different things and all of a sudden this was just a byproduct of all your efforts?
It was, how you say, was the end of all.
Yeah.
You know, we put it that in like the main goal. We have to reach that. Every step we make since that moment we start to the process, to the qualify, to the South American tournament. In the middle was the South American tournament, like we're playing now with Selnam and everything. Was we knew that it's gonna be our process to reach that goal. Yeah.
It's quite remarkable, and one of the things that you said there a moment ago was that even as a little boy you couldn't dream of Chile being in the World Cup, because how could you, because Chile weren't in the World Cup. It's something that I'm quite interested in, the people who do something for the first time. So you guys are the first people from Chile to have got to the World Cup. So how does that happen without a defined inspiration, without having heroes of your childhood who did play in a World Cup? How does that change without having the inspiration?
That changed a lot, our mentality even. Our coach Paulo Lemoine, when he came to Chile, he sit us everyone on a table and speak to us, and his project was like not a big project in a structure or whatever, but he says, I want you guys be the best national team in history. Are you in? And everyone on that table say, yeah, we're in, you know. So with that commitment, we start to working, you know.
What did it involve being in? How difficult was it to be in?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was really difficult. That means waking up every day at 5 a.m. to be training at 6 a.m. every morning, Sunday in under the sun, under the winter, under the snow, under the rain, every day for around 3 years. That means be outside of our families, left behind our studies, our works, our girlfriends or wherever you have in that moment, and put everything to the other side and focus on this goal.
Was that difficult for some people?
Yeah, very difficult, very difficult. We have a lot of players from other cities, you know, from other places from Chile, so they have to move to Santiago, and everything what that means, you know, start to renting an apartment or put effort in doing the travels and everything every week, be here in Santiago, far from the families, from everything, and it wasn't not easy, but we knew that that effort is gonna pay us back.
And it did.
Yeah, of course it did.
So what is the geographical spread of this team then? You mentioned people who come from different cities and they need to stay in Santiago. I guess the nature of your crazy geography of this country is that it tends to be quite long distances if you don't live in one place to go visit another place. So is it predominantly Santiago-born players in this team, or how big is the spread?
Yeah, we have the main team, in a way to say, is from Santiago. We have a few guys from the south, from Concepcion, who is like 7 hours from Santiago driving. We have other guys from Viña del Mar, who is more near, 2 hours to the coast, and we have another guy from Antofagasta, who is the big north of Chile. And yeah, for that guys is not easy. Even we have Santiago is quite big, you know. We have 7 million people. It's a huge population city, and there's a lot of guy who is from outside of the city, and they even have to came to train. They have to do like an hour, 2 hours travel in a bus to train. So but that different kind of people makes us like be a really strong group. Commit with this project, and make us every moment more close, more friends, and that is for us. We are a family.
You're from Santiago. Which part of the city did you grow up in?
I'm grow up in the part of Ñuñoa, Las Condes.
Quite close to here.
Yeah, quite close. We are now. I have to say, it's a good place of the city. A really quiet place. Good neighbors. I have that opportunity. Like my family, thank God, we have the best, and in that same way I start playing rugby. I have one of my friends invite me when I was around 10 years old. He invited me to play rugby, and I started loving the rugby.
Okay. It wasn't necessarily something that was part of your childhood before that point. This was just a friend in school, I guess, who invited you along.
Yeah. The rugby is not part of the common life here in Chile. The rugby is growing up like in high speed, I have to say. But you can say like commonly coming from the best place of the city, coming from the best schools with origins in British colonies. They have the rugby. So my school wasn't have rugby, and just a friend of mine who invited me.
Okay, very good. Before that, what were you playing?
Football, of course.
What position did you play in football? You're a second row, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I always thought to myself, second rows, it must be pretty difficult for them to play football. Maybe they're just too big to play football. So where did you play in football?
I used to play like midfield center.
Okay.
Or sometimes in the defense, back to defense. Yeah.
Any good?
Yeah. I can say I was good at that moment.
Yeah.
So of course now if you give me a ball, like probably kicking it, whatever.
After how long did you realize that this was going to become a potential, livelihood for you? And I don't mean that in the way, 10-year-old picking up a rugby ball. I mean that in the sense of being a Chilean rugby player, because those opportunities weren't there for somebody who was 20 or 30 years older than you. You're kind of the first generation who obviously are professional. Your job is with regards to rugby. You're the first person who could actually dream of making rugby your life. So when did that happen for you? When did you think that was going to become a reality?
I have to say, I realized it when I was quite older, like 24, 25 years old.
Really?
Yeah, for if you look countries where rugby is the main sport, you realize that when you are 18, 19 years old, even younger. And now in Chile, how you say, we are the first generation. We starting to think, and now we are living as a rugby players, professional rugby players. I figured out at 25, 24 when I have the opportunity to went to Spain to play. They offered me a contract there in the Spanish league, and I didn't realize before, like just like dreams or playing in my mind, like I would love to play, go outside to play, but never like a real situation.
Yeah.
Was quite like a surprise for me. Yeah.
And how did the Spanish rugby culture differ from the Chilean rugby culture?
It's quite different. I have to say they impressed me a lot. I didn't thought they have a quite structure of rugby, and I can say they have. You can find rugby in every corner of Spain, in different level, of course. And the rugby is good there. Of course, also the football is the main sport. Everyone breathes football in Spain. So
it's interesting that you were saying to me earlier that even like the language of Spanish is more prominent here in Chile than it is in Spain.
Yes, that was a funny situation that I figured out when I was there. I was teaching guys, even with the team, when we have to play and everything. They don't speak in English about rugby. We used to speak in English about the situation, the players, the plays of the game. You know, the scrum, the line outs, and everything. But they use French words, French, but Spanish. Okay. You know, so they say la mêlée o la touche, el placaje y cosas así. Entonces, so sounds quite funny. But you used to it, yeah.
So when did you come back from Spain? When did that stint end for you?
I come back 2 years ago, 2021. Okay. I came back for the qualifiers, the South American qualifiers, when the season over there in the last weeks of June, first of May. Sorry, I come back to play the South American tournament. Was the first stage for the qualify for World Cup in Uruguay, and in that moment I remember we play against Brazil and Uruguay. Mm-hmm. We have to beat both to be in the to reach the best opportunity to qualify. We beat Brazil and we lose again Uruguay. So we was wait against the game USA and Canada. Mm-hmm. And the losers of that team plays against us, and in that moment was Canada. We beat Canada in a game away in a home game. Mm-hmm. We played first there in Canada, and we come back here to Chile to play against them. We beat them, and for first time in our life, we really was in a good position to qualify the World Cup. You know, we beat a team like Canada that they never was outside of a World Cup. Yeah, it was the first time for them, so was a huge impact for the rugby Chilean team, you know, and make us realize that we really can reach our goals, you know. And then next year, 2022, we put our efforts, our minds, our bodies to prepare the big games against USA. And it was that is another story, a big story. Yeah.
It's interesting though, because as you say with Canada, you know, they've always been at World Cups. Yep. But the same kind of goes for USA. They've been such a part of World Cups as well. Do you think that the two North American teams, do you think they got taken by surprise by Chile?
Kind of, yes. Yes, they doesn't expect, I think, we can beat them, or even we can give them so much work in every game, you know, and that we know about that, you know, so we use that like one of our strengths as our motivations, you know, like we don't have nothing to lose. They have to lose everything. Yeah. You know, we are competing for our first time ever. They don't, so we just have to get in the field and give everything we have.
Part of the whole process, as you spoke about there, was you coming home, was about having, you know, a good rugby culture here in the country. You're wearing the Southam crest on your top there. Can you talk us through a little bit how Chile have managed to keep most of their players at home and offer them professionalism and make sure that this is a culture that continues to grow here and has every chance of winning big tests like you did last year?
Yeah, for us, I can say that we are trained to follow the way that follows Argentina. Yeah. You know, Argentina have a great organization, a great union, a great number of players, you know, and they figure out that if they work good, they can reach a good level. They can create good players, and we are in that way. We are doing the same thing now in Chile. You have different academies in different parts of the country. Here in Santiago, one in the south, one in the north, one in the coast. To be that kind of a factory of rugby players.
Yeah.
And our coach, the best thing they thought for preparing for the World Cup was that way, trying to be all the players here in Chile, being together, like the last 4 years. We work together, we commit together, we train every day together, like as a family. And if that way bring us some give us the way to reach our goals, that's the way we have to keep.
And how successful is that? Like, how successful are Selnam at the moment? And I guess the whole South African or South American League, I mean, it's such an important step forward for teams here that they don't have to go to Super Rugby, or they don't have to, leave and join a French club or whatever it may be. How is the success of the league and the success of the Chilean club going?
I think it's quite successful. How I told you of the camera, is quite an effort and a plan from the South America Union, the whole union, and even for World Rugby, put the resources, put the attention on South America and trying to grow up the level in the region, and that's what is they doing with the tournament, with the America's tournament. And for us as Selnam, it's been a quite it's been nice for us. I have to say, like, if you ask everyone, even the coaches, the players, they would say like Selnam, or the tournament with Selnam, give us the strength or the material to can reach or qualify for the World Cup. The first season was just 2 games because the COVID started. The second season we reached the semi-finals. Last season we reached the final. We lose again Peñarol, who is like the team to beat right now. This season it's been quite difficult for us because we are doing like 2 processes in a row, playing this tournament and also preparing for the World Cup. So the players, of course, are really commit with this process, but it's new for us. Trying to make 2 processes in a row, it's not easy for the mind and also for the body,
right.
But the guys and everyone in the team are prepared for this. It's what we expect our whole life, so we are happy about this.
Have you spoken about what your goal is in the World Cup?
Yeah, of course. Our goal in the World Cup is go there and put Chile in the main stage. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, the World Cup for us. Put Chile between the 16 best teams in the world, and get in there and try to not get off of the stage. So after the qualify, I remember the coaches and everyone was saying, okay, we qualified to this World Cup, but this has to be like first time, one and only. Like we really want to make this process to the next generation. Chile getting the World Cups here from the eternity. So that's our goal. Of course, we know that we are playing against 4 teams, tier 1 teams. The only team who is not the tier 1 is number 11 or 12 in the world ranking. So it's
Samoa, right?
It's Samoa. So is the same.
Yeah.
But we knew that we have good weapons. We just want to go there, enjoy the moment, play our best rugby, and if we can do it in the best way, of course, maybe against Japan or Samoa, we are most than happy about it.
You'll have a crack off England as well, though, no?
No, not this way. No, not this time.
Next time, I hope so.
The more next to England we have been was last year. We played against Leinster in Dublin. It was a really tough game. I remember. I can't be there, but because I get injury just before that tour. But it was a really good game. We have a lot of we can took a lot of learning things about that game. Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier on as well that Chile-Argentina will be the first time that an all South American clash has happened on the world stage. So, yeah. I mean, if that rivalry didn't need any more spice, well, there it is.
Yeah, of course. We of course know about the Pumas, the how to say the how honored we can be to play against the Pumas. We never have the opportunity to play against the Pumas before as a Chilean team. We play against the second team, mostly of Argentina, in the South American tournament or like test match. Never against the Pumas. So for us, it's gonna be a huge honor. It's gonna be, how you say, the first time two South American teams play against in a World Cup. So also it's something like historic for the World Cup in South. And yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting game.
How is your own recovery getting on? You obviously did your ACL.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a good time to do an ACL. However, your recovery is on track to be fully fit and ready for the World Cup. So it could have been worse, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Thanks God, I get injured just around October, November from last year. So we have a whole year to recover for the World Cup. Now I am in my getting to my 5th month of the recovery, and we are doing really well. I'm already start to running, to playing, to get into the field, back to the field. I'm doing my training sessions every day. The medical squad of the team is helping me, like every day is on me, helping me with everything. So I'm really happy about this, and with a lot of expectations to be in the best condition to can reach be on the squad for the World Cup.
How did you feel when the ACL went last year? Because for any professional athlete, it's a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disaster, of course. But at the same time, I feel really calm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take it in the best way. I remember I'm a faith guy. I put everything like in the hands of God, I pray to God. I remember my family, of course, be there for me, my wife, and everything on the team, even the coach from the national team. They speak to me and say, okay, Augusto, we have the time. Don't worry, get the surgery, start to recovery. Like, just we start working on this right now, and put your mind on being the World Cup. That's it. And that's been my last month thinking about that.
I want to talk to you one last thing. It's just about where we are today. We're in the Prince of Wales club here in Santiago. A lovely building, very interesting interior. You got Winston Churchill up on the wall. We got lots of fight for England signs up here. But I guess it is a reality of the culture in Chile, is that the British immigrants to Chile, whether it's English or Scots, have brought quite a lot and have instilled a culture of rugby that I guess right now is actually coming to fruition a small bit, right?
Yeah. For me, it's an honor to be part of this club. I don't have my ancestors are not British. I just play in this club. I started playing when I was 10 years old, so I've been here like the most time of my life, and it's quite an honor because this is one of the first club of rugby here in Chile. Even we have the honor, how I told you before, like even the foundings of this club, the first stone was put in from the Prince of Wales in that moment in 1930s or something like that, and I feel really, really special, also because we have in this team the only 2 players from Chile who are in the Hall of Fame of the World Rugby.
Eoin Campbell is one, I guess.
Campbell,
and who's the other?
And his brother.
Of course, yeah.
What
do you know about those players? Because they're the players that I remember, but I know about as Chilean legends.
Yeah, I have the honor to meet Eoin Campbell and meet him in different situations around like this day of rugby. He used to be here. Launching, have a good lunch, and then go to the field because some of his grandsons play on the team. So he always was involved in the rugby with us, and it was a great honor meet him. So we feel like kind of a special club,
right?
Just with that. Part of the history, be part of the history of the rugby,
And how much does that motivate you as well? Because unfortunately, Eoin passed away last year,
yes.
And it would have been really, really nice to see you guys in action in Chile's first ever World Cup. But I guess his memory is something that will motivate the members of this club who will represent Chile this year.
Yeah, of course. I can feel more motivated to use that strength of that people who work very hard to put Chile in the best every time they could. I have a lot of friends, even they pass away in playing from this country, playing with the shirt of this club. So it's just motivation and inspiring for us. Eoin Campbell have the opportunity last year when we play against Scotland here in Santiago. To be part of that meeting after the game,
right?
And he was really emotional to be part of that. Have a time with the Scottish players and everything. So he knew about, of course, he qualified for the World Cup, and I remember I stretched his hands, and he was like, bro, we're really happy for you. This is the best you can do for your country, so I keep it in my heart, of course.
Fantastic. The other thing we should mention here is the amount of children out on the fields today. Yourself and your teammates have been taught a couple of lessons by some of the kids out there today, running rings around you guys. This is a hugely important part of you and some of the other players involved with the national team and with Cheltenham. Can you talk us through your duties here and how you help out with the next generation?
Yeah, I'm here in my club. I'm also a trainer from the under 16 guys. It's part of it's a job I do every week with these guys. I'm starting doing it around 5 years ago, and I really enjoy it. I really think for me it's the most important thing I can do as a rugby player. Give some back to rugby, to the next generation, giving back to rugby what rugby gives to me, so trying to be an inspiration, also trying to be maybe a role model for these young guys. Now, most important in this process, like we reach the qualifies, we reach the World Cups. Everyone in the rugby here in Chile are looking us, So for me, that is the most important. Trying to bring and write that legacy for the next generations.
And you see it here. You got kids here coming up asking you for autographs. They do see you as as real inspirations. I guess it's fair to say, but that's just one part of it. The other part of it is that you and your teammates, your teammates who don't necessarily work here, are coming here on Saturday mornings and are giving up free time to actually help out. So
Yes.
It's obviously something that really means a lot to you guys, to see that you are not going to be the first and the last team in the World Cup. You want to see rugby continue to grow, and you want to see kids pick up an oval ball around here.
Yeah, absolutely. How you say, we spend our free day probably or weekends to come here. It's just 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. We involved with the kids, but for us, it's just happiness, joy, and see the kids happy. Because we always say that in the team, when we have the chat and everything, like for us, it's nothing more great that play, I don't know, here in Chile against another team, but with our people. The stadium full of people cheering us, feeling the flag, feeling the condor in her chest. For us, that is the most important thing, and if we can give just a little bit of that to the children, we are happy about it.
How do you see the future of Chilean rugby?
I'm seeing with good eyes, I have to say. I'm helping with the academy structure in the national team, with the guys also under 17 years. I'm helping the 1 day a week, training with them, and I'm seeing good stuff. I have to say, every day, every year, every month, I have to say there's more kids motivate with the dreams on her minds of being a professional rugby player. And now you can be a rugby player here in Chile, So that's what we are trying to build now, the structure, the kids, and we know that when this generation pass after the World Cup or the next World Cup, we have a good kids coming from behind.
For sure, you're certainly doing your bit. You're doing more than your bit. You're trying to create a whole new generation, and you've obviously managed to start that by the example that you lead on the field. So, first of all, congratulations on everything you've achieved over the last few years. Very best of luck with the recovery and the final part of the recovery, and of course with the preparations and the World Cup itself. It's such an exciting time to be somebody involved in Chilean rugby, so I hope you have an opportunity to enjoy France this year and all that comes with it. Augusto, a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me here today and for being so generous with your time.
Thank you to be here. Thank you giving me your time, and I hope you enjoyed this day full of rugby here in Chile.
Yeah, how could I not? In the Santiago sun. It's the perfect place to be. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Cheers.